Sherry cannot help but think about Sid with every bite of the chocolate given to her by him. On the other hand, Sid is walking in school while holding a paper in his hand when he asks if it is new out of nowhere. The girl walking right behind him replies in affirmative, telling him she wore the uniform to blend in. As the two sit on a bench, New tells him about not being able to get information from that man since he was brainwashed completely. Sid keeps nodding and pretending to listen while thinking about how his friends entered him in the fencing tournament just because they were injured and couldn't do so. New tells him that the cult has been using brainwashing techniques for a long time, and the name of Shadow Garden must have been used to lure them out. Sid mentions not wanting to do that, which New thinks is about showing up to the cult, but we are pretty sure he is talking about a fencing tournament. New then mentioned the appearance of the name First Child in the royal capital, Rex, in the game of betrayal. The name Child is the one of his maintain their sense of self, so publicly showing him means the cult has a purpose in their mind. Sid gets into deep thought talking about not laying out the goal, but there being ways to deal with it. He decides to think further and tells Na he will see her later. Na is amazed by her boss's devotion in wanting to deal with the issue while we still aren't sure if he was talking about the cult or the fencing tournament. Probably the tournament. In the fencing tournament, Claire is doing pretty well, and students are busy placing bets on the players when one of the awaited participants shows up. No, not the background character Sid, but Miss Rosariana, who coincidentally has a match with none other than Sid E. Rosariana is a princess, the president of the student council, and one of the renowned swordsmen. There is no perfect opportunity for Sid to show his 48 mastered techniques. As the duel begins, Sid and Rose attack each other, but just before her sword can touch him, he adds something to his mouth. The next moment, Sid is thrown far away with blood flooding out of his mouth. By 48 mastered techniques, he meant techniques to act like a failure that a perfect background character is. Before Rose could be announced a winner, he says he still can fight. He keeps on fighting till he can display many of his moves until Rose gets frustrated with why he is not giving up. So the referee-like guy saves Sid and announces Rose as a winner, even though Sid still wants to show off more of his loser moves. This earns Sid a sense of respect for Rose for his determination. Sid walks out with his head completely wrapped with bandages. One can say he is mimicking a mummy. Sherry suddenly calls him out, asking if he is doing fine and wanting to talk to him. As the two sit in the cafe, she hands him some handmade cookies as a thank you gesture after praising his determination in the tournament. Confused as to why she'd thank him for the determination, Sid takes the cookies. She then asks for wanting to be friends first, to which Sid finds no issue either. The guy has absolutely no clue what Sherry is talking about, whereas Sherry excitedly calls out to her father to finally make a friend. Sid is a little surprised to see the assistant principal as her father. Since this could bring him unnecessary attention, Sid tries to use the excuse of his injuries to get some distance between the two. But the main question in all situations remains: how is Sid drinking tea with his mouth all bandaged up? In the evening, Sherry still cannot stop thinking about Sid and wonders if she should visit him with the excuse of wanting to know about his health. She is thinking if it's too weird to do between friends when she recalls seeing Sid a lot with Alexia as if the two were dating. Confused, she decides to do something. Alexia sits in her room, enjoying her black coffee. A knock on the door disturbs her. She opens it to see Sherry standing there nervously. Sherry introduces herself and is invited in by Alexia. Alexia is a little weirded out to see Sherry put in a lot of sugar and milk in her coffee. Alexia asks if she can discuss the artifact, but Sherry refuses. Alexia thinks then it must be about the student council election schedule. But this isn't it either. Sherry nervously asks if Alexia is involved with someone since rumors said she was dating Sid. Alexia tells her she isn't dating Sid, and never was, as it was just an act. But before she can even complete her sentence, Sherry excitedly starts her rant about how relieved she is that Sid is not with anyone, as she just became friends with Sid and was concerned about this. Sherry walks out, not at all seeing the rage building inside Alexia with every word that Sherry has said. As soon as Sherry leaves, a cup loses its life. Sid is sitting in class after his rest leaves when Rose enters the student council elections. The shielded man and his subordinates who've been pretending to be Shadow Garden appear under the school, and a sphere figure looking like an eye is activated. This creates a shield around the school, which is only noticed by Sid initially. Alexia, who's also walking into school, notices the gate closed and finds it weird. Looking closely, she finds a guard's bloody arm and realizes something is wrong. Inside the school, Sid checks and realizes that whatever happened has stopped magic from being used here. Sid suddenly feels the presence of intruders, realizing they are about to enter his class. The black uniformed and masked guys appear to be claiming a Shadow Garden announcing taking over the school. Rose warns them and tries to use her magic only to realize it can't be worked here. One of the bad guys steps forward to hurt Rose when Sid comes running and screaming and pushes Rose away. The sword cuts through his body, creating a pool of blood as he falls. Sid, a background character, is in the moment every student daydreams of when in school. What will they do if their school is under attack? So, when the magic seal appears and the intruders barge into their classroom, Sid knows he needs to make the best out of this situation. The perfect plot needs to be that an unknown background character turns out to be the life savior of some main character and dies first in the chaos. This is exactly what happened when Rose was under attack. Sid rushed not to save her, but to become the perfect sacrifice a background character is. Rose is crushed to see someone go this far for her sake. While Sid is content about his death, Rose assumes he did this because he cared for her, and it was his love and respect for her that he kept fighting in the tournament and now sacrificed his life for her. Rose seems to now have feelings for the guy presumably dead. After all the students are gathered in the assembly hall, Sid lifts his arm and hits his heart multiple times, breaking something like a shield. He then wakes up breathing heavily after surviving his dangerous technique of 10-minute death. He had controlled the flow of blood in his body to keep his brain alive, even for the time his heart stopped. Science needs to learn from our bro. Sid then uses his magic in thin threads, as complete magic is obstructed by those people. Sherry is working on her study, unaware of the events occurring in the rest of the school. Suddenly, the window to her room breaks with the entry of Rex, who tries to refer to himself as Shadow Garden, only to forget if it is Garden or Guardian. I think this alone could serve as a reason for our devoted Sid to kill him. Before Rex could attack her, Glenn and Marco appeared to her rescue. The two are still fighting pretty well, even without the use of magic. Marco gives Sherry an opening to run while they fight the enemies. Sid stands on the rooftop analyzing the situation of the terrorists and the knights, while the Shadow in the situation stands in secret observing them all. However, the main concern of Mr. Shadow is the lack of aesthetics these people have for wearing all black in the middle of the day. This is probably why Sid decides to wreak havoc secretly while waiting for his grand entry once the night falls. He starts killing the terrorists by making small arrows out of his magic. As all this happens, Sherry runs around the school corridors trying to sneak away from the bad guys. Sherry, however, is unaware that she is miserable at hiding from anyone and is walking right in the hands of the enemy. This would have happened if a shadow wasn't working during broad daylight. Sid then jumps down the building just for the sake of his persona. Sid is analyzing the situation from afar and killing any enemy that comes closer to Sherry. By any enemy, it is every enemy that is present in whichever place Sherry goes to, because being highly qualified in research does not assure qualification in hide and seek. Even her crawling away from enemies is serving as giving in to them, while Sherry thinks it is just her imagination that someone is watching her. Everyone is watching you, Sherry. While crawling up the stairs, her slipper makes her lose balance and fall back. Sid appears there on time, saving her doom. He tells her not to try hiding, not to think too much, and to get rid of those noisy slippers if she does not want to get caught. It seems like the girl needs a lot of learning on how to sneak around, and a shadow is the perfect teacher one could have for that. The two then walk to her father's office because she knows there must be some hint about how the magic was sealed off. As she surfs around, Sid thinks of the flaws in the storyline as they do have a clumsy main character, but there is still no sidekick there. Sherry finds the clue to the red eye, the eye of avarice, that absorbs any magic that is not taught to it in memory. So, the intruders have their magic in their memory, but no one else does. The only flaw is that the eye can only absorb magic till a certain amount, after which it explodes. Sherry then shares that the artifact she has is the control unit of the Eye of Avarice. The two were to be used together as a storage unit to stop the Eye of Avarice from blasting. Sherry tells him that if they activate the artifact in the vicinity of the Eye of Avarice, they could stop it from functioning. Sid offers to bring her supplies from her study. Rex is threatened by the masked man to take the situation seriously. Rex leaves after revealing someone killing most of the knights, insinuating that the actual Shadow Garden is here. The armored guy is sure he can survive against them and reach the round of knights in the cult. As Rex walks with his guards, they disappear one after the other. Rex looks around only to get punched by a smiling Sid. Rex builds a net around himself that won't let him enter it without notice, but all his threats are empty as Sid is standing right behind him. Sid kicks him into a room where all his fellows lie defeated. His confusion and shock aren't answered as he is also added to the bunch of defeated ones by Sid, who is currently hanging upside down. New wanders into the study looking at Marco as if she knows him. It turns out he was her fiancé. Sid appears there and does not care what she does with him, but she decides to spare him this time since he already lies unconscious. New updates him that Shadow Garden is around the school and waiting for how he commands them. However, only Gamma is the person present who can use magic even inside the shield. The only problem is that these fights aren't her forte. Sid hears her out only to ask her about tweezers. As he collects the required stuff, he tells Noah about the artifact and tunes it. Noah is impressed yet again by Shadow, unaware of the work being done by Sherry and him just being there as a support. As the day proceeds, everyone tries and plans on their level to handle this situation of students being held hostage.